Are we live camera action over on YouTube? Lovely stuff. Let me just get into the comment section. You're wasting 80% of your time. I love that. You're wasting 80% of your time. Very good. Hello, everyone. Good to see you on Instagram. Good to see you over on YouTube as well. We have a nice mix of people over on both. Third Better Call Saul, my favorite time of the week. Yeah, Amanda's, we all rocking and rolling lovely. Good, my friend. We have a very exciting, good to see you, George. We have a very nice schedule for you all today. I'm going to talk more about my schedule, what I'm planning for you guys. I'll be here for 4 hours. I'd love for you to join for the whole 4 hours as well. But of course, put me on in the background. Go and check me out on YouTube if you are planning to stay for the long run. It's going to be a good one. YouTube, we can do both. This is going to be streamed for the whole time. YouTube's going to be streamed for the whole time. But just have me in the background, have me chilling, whatever you want to do. Loads of times to ask questions, loads of time to hear a bit of value on productivity, about systems. Yeah, it's kind of what I want to get into today. Is talking as much about the world of online business, productivity, starting your own business. Just talking from my experiences, what I've experienced from building my own offer and building the offer that I have in the last year. How I became decent at running a business. I say decent, not good, decent. If you're chilling in the comments, either on YouTube or either on Instagram, just drop me a little message and say hi. Say what you're looking for today, what you'd be interested in getting in terms of value. If there's anything where you're like, oh, this is exactly why I tuned in. This is what I wanted to get, and we can go from there. Good to see everyone. Nice to see everyone on Instagram. Good to see people flooding into YouTube, which is really cool. Welcome. It is so hot in Cape Town right now. It is like 30 degrees. Sorry to flex on the UK people, but it is incredibly hot. We're on 16-degree aircon in here, and I feel like I'm going to explode. I'm so hot. So we'll see how 3.5 hours later goes. But no, I look forward to it. Yeah, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, come say hi. Ask your question. I'm going to do question and answer for the next 5-10 minutes. So ask a question. What are you building? What are you interested in building? I put a few reels out in the last few minutes which are quite controversial. The first one is about OpenClaw. My God, the amount of people who I speak to who are spending their whole life chilling on OpenClaw, and then for some reason they decide that they need to not post content or not do enough of content instead of building their actual business. They spend the whole time trying to make AI stuff, which I always find quite funny. But yeah, a story for another time. What's going on? Good to see everyone on Instagram. The numbers are looking very nice on YouTube as well. Good to see people there. Either chill here on Instagram or go and check me out over on YouTube. Either or, whatever you prefer. Today is all about productivity. Today is all about productivity systems, everything like that. Good, Sean. Looking forward to seeing you, mate. Looking forward to seeing you. I look forward to it. Hello, James. I'm back in London in a month's time. I look forward to seeing you. I can't wait. I've already got it in my diary. We'll be at an appointment set. That's good to see. I assume that means you applied to be an appointment setter. We are holding interviews in the next few days, so excited for that. It's been fun for my head of sales, Morgan, to deal with both. So looking forward to having you or whoever we hire, which is cool. Good to see so many people in it. This is really cool to see some very familiar faces. Just drop your questions in the chat. I'm doing Q&A for the next 5 minutes. What do you have questions about content, about sales systems, about building your offer. What is on your mind right now? It's a Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon, depending where you are in the world. What is on your mind? What are you wondering? Today in this video, I'm going to go over some really cool productivity systems, some really cool kind of focus systems, because one of the things that I found is that all of these people who are looking to hit the like 5, 10, 15, 20K a month mark, the thing that they miss is just the systems. I was chatting to someone who's doing like 15K a month the other day, and he literally said to me like, I know what I need to do, I just can't seem to like find time in the day to do it. And he ends up just spending hours and hours just procrastinating, doing the wrong thing. One of them is he's doing Claude Code the whole time, which is a waste of time because he just needs to make more content. But he also doesn't know what to work on. So actually, most people who I meet who are under like 30 and 40K a month are genuinely people who just need to get like habits in check. What to work on, how to focus on it, and then the systems in order to focus on it. Sean, what's the difference between content that generates leads and content that gets views, shares, and reach? Really good question. So content that gets views, firstly, they're like, a lot of them are very correlated, because in general, if it's getting shares and comments, Instagram or whatever the algorithm is going to start promoting it and being like, this is exactly what we need to show to everyone. So that is the first thing, is that like anything that gets shares and reach is genuinely going to get quite a lot of views. In general though, if it's got a load of views and not much interaction, it's very top of funnel. So it's very much like in fact, Amanda, why don't I show this on actually I don't know if I can show it in a diagram. Let's pretend like we've got the funnel here. At the top, we've got very much like top of funnel content. It's gonna get a lot of views. This is like very broad topics, memes, like, you know, those Instagram things where it's text and just changing B-roll. That's gonna get lots of views, but that's not gonna get buyers. But what you wanna do is use that content to put people into the funnel. So if the funnel's like this, you put people in at the top, and then obviously you use the content between it to market or to convert. And the content in between it tends to be your ones that gets more comments, more likes, more saves, because it gets more interactions where people are like, this is a super valuable bit of content, thanks for providing that bit of content. And that then becomes the middle of funnel content. So yeah, that's the difference between the bits of content there. Best advice for a setter. Best advice for a setter is to find a very good offer, and to not be a setter who wants to jump around, and to be a setter who wants to commit to like an offer. You're someone who's like, okay, I'm going to actually be committed to being part of like an offer and build a business. Because I think the setter community, and you can get me on a whole rant about the whole setter community, but like they get sold the dream of making 5, 10K a month, and as a setter, it's like you have to be on a really good offer with a team that really incentivizes you to make that sort of money. Most of the time it's the closers that are making that much money, so you want to be on a team full of people who are like, you believe in the long-term vision, you want to kind of make your way up. The setter is like the entry level to a company, and you shouldn't want to just live as a setter for the whole life, or for your whole life, or for the whole time you work in business. You should want to be a setter, and then like, let's say a demo call or triage call person, and then make your way to closer, then sales manager, and then move up the ranks that way. Too many people just get told that they can work wherever they want in the world as a setter, and it's like, it's just such bad advice. Yeah, that's the whole setting community. It is a crazy place where people make a few K and then all of a sudden decide that they're going to go and coach setting. If someone was to only make bottom funnel content like direct to ICP, is it possible to be stuck? Yes, exactly that, mate. That's the problem, is because let's say I am the biggest mindset coach in the world. Like, let's say I'm Tony Robbins, right? If I'm Tony Robbins and I start telling you about very bottom of funnel content about my clients and the wins that they get and certain mindset tips, you're gonna listen to me, right? Because you're like, okay, great. Like, I need help with this, and Tony Robbins has built up a lot of trust with me. The problem is a lot of people end up trying to sell to the bottom of their funnel before they gain the attention from the top of the funnel. So for example, my most viewed video, the thing that brought in the most of my followers, was my I quit my consulting job, or I quit my 60K consulting job video. That had nothing to do with bottom of funnel, middle of funnel. In fact, it had nothing to do with my business at all. But so many people watched that video and resonated with my values, the top of the funnel, they came into the top of the funnel. But then when I started telling them, okay, this is how you make good content, this is how you, I don't know, get your productivity in shape, then people are like, okay, I now want to listen to this person because I like their values. So what you want to focus on, mate, is you want to focus firstly on like share content, which is talking about your values and yourself, sell yourself as a person, and then after that, you sell yourself as the mechanism and the thing you're good at doing. That's the way to get great buyers in. It's the way to build trust. And as I said, if you're the top mindset coach in the world, people are going to listen because they've already felt your values. Whereas if you try and replicate Tony Robbins' videos word for word, no one's going to listen to you because they don't have the kind of trust and the value share that you have. So that's the difference, mate. Cool. A question on YouTube. Busy professionals, 28 to 45, lose body fat within a day. How do I stand out but not short term, but longevity wise, while still adding value using whiteboards? Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes that I see fitness coaches make is just talking way too much about their mechanism and the way that they do things. Like talking way too much about like, okay, if you want to break down your calories and your macros, do this and 3,000 calories a day and all that sort of thing. It just doesn't work because, to be completely honest with you, if I'm looking for that advice, I'm going to go to like, I don't know, let's say The Rock or something like that. I'm going to go to someone who I know is in unbelievable shape, who again, as I said, as I talked about in my last answer, is someone who I've already like built a lot of trust with. If you're someone who's trying to build your brand on the internet, my friend, the best way to do is to focus all of your time on top of funnel content, on share content. So the stuff that is like the first thing that people see. So you want to talk about your training plans. You want to talk as in your own personal training plans, your own training journey, your own fitness journey, your own weight loss journey, your daily habits when it comes to nutrition. That is how people resonate with you. And then your conversion content, i.e. your whiteboard stuff. Like, do people really want to watch that? Not really. I used to sell on an offer, like, and I don't say that to you personally, I just say people just genuinely are not that interested in that because their interest is much more in, do I like the coach? Do I like the person? Secondly, do I believe in their mechanism? Everyone knows that a fitness coach is just going to tell you, eat less calories, do more exercise. But the thing is, like, do you want to work with them? And that's what you need to do, mate, is spend more time on your personality and less time on your mechanism. I've had a client recently join me. He's got 400,000 followers and he's not making anywhere near the amount of money he wants to be making. And that's because he focused way too much on like viral content and content that didn't bring his audience into liking him. The opposite can be said for a few of my clients who have got like, I mean, one of my clients, Josh, he's done $96,000 with his offer and he has like 3,000, 4,000 followers. Crazy, right? And it's because he makes super, super niche content about the things that he does in property, his life in property, about his morning walks as well around his properties, and then a bit of value content for conversion. So that's the game changer for you, mate. Yeah, don't sell the info as much as selling yourself as a person. Occasionally a bit of info and you'll be fine. But honestly, mate, as a fitness coach, if you make people like you as a person, and if you put like videos up of transformations and of stories, you're gonna absolutely crush it. Like that's the game changer for you. Hope that answered the question, my friend. Yeah, I would like to do the profile review and the mini breakdown at some point. That'd be fun. Let's do that. Should we do that? The problem is I can't do it on my phone. What I'll do, mate, is why don't you message me on Instagram and I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you on Instagram. I think that'll be fun. Okay, I'm gonna get on with filming and talking to you about some of the limiting beliefs that I got over and some of the hard truths that I had to get over in order to basically have the year that we had last year. So I'm going to talk to you about 5 brutal truths. This is going to be part of a YouTube video, which is going to be fun, but I'd love for you guys to be popping up and asking questions the whole time, and I will fire over and give you some source at certain parts of the video. So yeah, I'm going to film my hook. You get to see live me going and making a YouTube video, and we'll go from there. I've got my script above me, nice in front of me, and we'll get going. Okay, let me get these pens out of the way, otherwise I'm going to play with them. Okay. I made $500,000 in the first year of my online business, and now I have that out of the way, I can tell you that to grow that business, I had to get over some pretty brutal truths about growing businesses, about mindset around business, and around money at the same time. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you 5 pretty brutal and painful truths that you might have to go over, like I had to go over, in order to build a business that you like. This video is not for someone who's making 100K a month. It's for someone who wants to build an online business to the 20, 30K a month mark consistently. But let me tell you this, before you even get into business tactics or you get into mindset, you need to work on the things that you're gonna have to So let me tell you this, before you even get into business hacks, you're gonna have to get into your mindset, into the beliefs that are holding you back and are keeping where you wanna be. These are the things that I wish I had, these are the things that I got over, and these are the 5 truths that I got over, and I know for a fact today that they're the reason that I managed to scale my business so quickly. So take a pen and paper out, think about what beliefs are holding you back, and let's get into the video. The first thing that I used to think is that if I acted the same way as everyone, then the first thing that I realized when I was in my corporate job was that I was acting the same as everyone around me. And then I thought, well, is that not going to lead to the same outcome as everyone else around me? If I stay on my line, actually I need to tell my story first. Before I get into the truths, my name's Sol, and as I said, I built a $500,000 a year business in the first year of running it. And I used to be a corporate 9-to-5er. I used to work a job that I didn't like, and I thought every single day about how I could have this online business. But little did I know it was my beliefs and the truths that I couldn't yet understand, which were the things that are holding me back. Now I live around the world, in Cape Town, in Bali, in Dubai, all the business that I absolutely love, but it came from breaking these limiting beliefs. And it allowed me to build a life where I, yes, have a lot of money that I'm able to spend on the people that I love, but much more importantly, I'm excited to wake up every single day. So let me get into it. So the first truth that I got over was that I had to do the same as everyone else, and I could still. And the first truth that I got over was that if I did the same as everyone else, I could achieve a different outcome. There was me in my corporate job in London, going out drinking, going partying, occasionally, I can't say that, going out drinking, going on holidays, going clubbing, expecting somehow if I did that to end up having a life that was different from the people around me. I wanted to have an online business where I could work wherever I wanted in the world, and still I expected that if I did all the same things as people who weren't able to do that, I would have a different outcome. So the first limiting belief and hard truth that I had to get over was that I had to act differently. I couldn't look at everyone around me and assume that if I acted in the same way as them, I would get the same outcomes. One of the things that always held me back was listening to advice from people who didn't have the life that I wanted. Because if you think about it, if you listen to the advice and people who look through the scope and have achieved a certain outcome from looking through that scope, then you will get the outcome that they want. If you take advice from someone who's unfit, you will get the same results as them, which is to be unfit. If you take advice from someone who doesn't know how to lift in the gym, well, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna struggle to lift in the gym properly. And that is the exact same about scaling an online business. I was listening to my parents, I was listening to my coworkers, and I was listening to my friends. The funny thing about all 3 of them is, with respect to all of them, none of them had the life that I really wanted, and none of them were able to work wherever they want, none of them were able to work wherever they want, on whatever they want, with whoever they want, whenever. None of them had true freedom in their lives and had the financial freedom and the location freedom that I really craved while in my job. So I realized in that second when where am I going with this? So I truly realized that I needed to stop listening to them. And one of the biggest hard truths that I had to get over was this thing of work-life balance. The amount of people who will tell you when you're trying to grow your business, you need to have work-life balance, you need to take your weekends off, you need to take your evenings off. Please ask anyone who has a business and a life that you want if they went all in at some point. All of them will say yes. But what people tell you is that you should have work-life balance, but the people who tell you that are the people who don't have the life that you want. So that was a really hard lesson that I had to learn, is the people that I loved and I cared for and had a lot of respect for didn't always have the best advice that I needed to listen to. And when I started ignoring those people in the greatest possible way, and when I started ignoring those people with the greatest possible respect and listening to people who only had the life that I wanted, immediately my business started growing, because I started picking up the habits and traits and actions of someone who had the business and the life that I wanted. One of the biggest problems that people in the 9-to-5 and people who have corporate jobs, actually, no, we'll go for that. So that was the first thing that I learned. Keep asking questions in the comments, guys. I'm keen to hear if there's any questions on this. So that was one of the things that I learned. And the second, so that was the one brutal truth, but the second is even more controversial, which is a lot of people will start telling you, you shouldn't have to sacrifice things. You shouldn't have to actually give up the things that are important to you in life, and that family and that friends and that health and relationships are all incredibly important, and life is not worth living without that. And while I could not agree more with that, and everything I do right now is about making sure that I have everything I do right now is to have great relationships and health in my life. When you are in a certain season of growing your business, you have to sacrifice things. In life, there are genuinely three things that you can achieve: better wealth, better health, and better relationships. It is impossible to do all three of those things. And I realized that while I was growing my business at the start of 2025. I was in Bali, surrounded by great people who were going out all the time, people who were asking to go for coffee all the time. But I realized I was in a chapter of grind. The only thing that I needed to increase was my wealth, because I needed a certain amount of money to get a team in order to leverage myself out of my business and to know that I'd fully escaped my 9-to-5 job. In order to do that, I had to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And no lie, did I grind to the point where I was exhausted. And I also sacrificed relationships, and I also wasn't in the shape that I wanted to be at the same time. But what happened? I did 100K in my first 100 days, and I put the foundations in place for a $500,000 business. At the same time, the others suffered. And what I'm trying to say to you here is that I accepted that I had to sacrifice certain things in my life to achieve other things. And that's what I was able to do. So I'm so happy that I understood this idea of sacrifice, and it was a truth that I had to get over. That at the end of the day, you can't have balance. You have to prioritize something in your life, and it depends what chapter you're in your life. And for me, that was a wealth chapter at the start of the first 6 months of 2025, and then the second half of 2025 was all about health and relationships. I'm now in the best shape I've ever been, and I have amazing people around me, and it's all because I worked out what I was sacrificing at certain points. When I had those two things at the end of 2025, when I had the two things at the end of 2025, my wealth didn't grow as much, but I was happy because my wealth and my relationships were in a better place. So the worst thing that you could have is to be the thing that I always told myself, which is the worst thing that you can have, is that you become a master. Is that you become a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I remember this specifically when I was playing some friends at paddle. And I remember thinking I was so frustrated that I wasn't as good at paddle at them. They were absolutely killing me. And then I realized that it's fine because they were in a paddle chapter. They were focusing on paddle. And instead, I was focusing on my wealth. My business was doing very well, and I was fortunately earning a lot of money, but my paddle wasn't as good. And I had to accept in that moment that at that point, it was not a paddle chapter. Now, I'm a lot better at paddle, and I probably beat them, but at that time, it was all about wealth and relationships. Anyway, enough about the paddle, let's go on to point number 3, which is everyone talks about the fact you have so much time. And let me tell you this straight away, you do not have as much time as you think. This is what I thought while I was in my 9-to-5. I was thinking, I've got loads of time. Everyone around me was telling me, just see this out for a few years. Honestly, just gain some experience. You've got loads of time. And I was like, I don't think I do have time. And that's for a few reasons. The first is that I believe there's an opportunity cost to your time. So for every day that I have now, which I don't enjoy, or for every day that I have now that I don't work towards having a better life, is a day lost on the other side of having a better life. I can say this confidently right now because I can pick a time in about May when my life shifted from grind, working hard, to genuinely feeling like I was living the best, most fulfilling life of all time. And it's because I realized that time was running out. I didn't have enough time, that I worked so hard in that period up to May, knowing that after it, I would have a better life. There is an opportunity cost for you not doing the work now, for you not realizing time is running out, to at the end, after that, there is an opportunity to, after that, actually having a life that you look forward to waking up to. Let me take that as an extreme. Let me take that for an extreme, is that if you don't enjoy your life now and you always say that let me take that to an extreme, that if you always think that you have enough time, you're constantly delaying the idea that you're gonna have a better life into the future. And I realized I want as many days in my life as possible that I enjoy. So right now, the only thing that I need to do is to change my life to make sure that I enjoy waking up every single day. That made me quit my 9-to-5 job. It made me work incredibly hard to get to the business that I wanted to. And now I can say that I passed over to that dream state of life and I'm loving everything I do right now. So you are running out of time, and the opportunity cost of you not doing the work now is the cost of not having as many days in your life that you genuinely enjoy. The second is also you'll never have as much. The second is that you'll never have as little responsibility as you have right now. That is something that blows my mind every time. Everyone always says, oh, I'm going to do this in 6 months' time when this happens. Let me tell you, having taken 1,000 sales calls and spoken to hundreds of people who say to me, Sol, I promise you I'm going to start building this business or scaling this business in a few months' time. Let me tell you how many of those people come back to me and go, right, let's do it. They never do. Because what you find is that people always say, oh, I'll do this after, I'll do this after, I'll do this after. But what you realize is you're always going to have responsibilities. If it's a newborn kid now, then in 3 months' time, you're going to be looking after them. And then maybe in a year's time, you're going to have another kid. Or maybe your job will be, or maybe your partner might unfortunately get sick, or maybe your partner might lose their job. You have no idea what is going to happen in the future. And the difference between successful people is that they know they are running out of time to build the life that they want, and they know that there is no better time than now. There is never the right, and they know that there is never the right time to actually go and do something. The perfect time simply does not exist. And the only difference between success and not success is just going and doing the thing, even if it isn't perfect anyway. So that is the third truth that I learned, which is that I got to the idea that I was actually running out of time. Instead of thinking I could relax, I could chill, because I couldn't, because I wanted the life that I wanted to build, that was on the other side of making sure that I worked incredibly hard. The fourth one is that I thought the market and building your own business was a lovely place to be. I thought, oh, life is really good when you have a business. Everyone's going to want to buy your product. And I was posting for maybe a year and a half before I actually started my offer. And I was posting for a year and a half before I actually started my business. And I always remember thinking, where is someone going to offer me some business? Or when is someone going to offer me to give me a brand deal? Or when is this going to come? And that's when I realized brutal truth number 4, which is the market is absolutely brutal. You have to accept that. And the thing about if you're at a stage right now where you're thinking, oh, when is this going to come? When am I going to end up actually making money from the business? Is that you probably won't. No, that's not true. That's not true. Let's reframe that. The thing that I realized is that when I was posting Hugo, go back to like the content part. So the thing that I realized while I was posting that content is that no one was coming to save me, and actually I had to prove to the market that I had value. I studied economics when I was at university, and I remember looking at market dynamics and thinking it is incredibly brutal in the way that if you simply do not price yourself into a market, then you'll just be outcompeted. And I've seen that in real life as well with competitors that I work with, or competitors that I've seen that have just been absolutely obliterated by other people that are simply willing to do more. There are 2 things that I realized within this market thing that made me realize how. And there are 2 things that I realized within this market brutal truth, which is so important, is that firstly, I had to give so much value up front for free, because at the end of the day, when you're starting and growing your business, which you probably are, no one believes you are good at what you do, or no one at least knows who you are to believe you are good at what you do. So the thing that I realized is I had to put so much goodwill, so much value out there in the first place in order to win business. The market is so brutal, unless you can literally prove for free to someone that you can help them, then people simply will not buy from you. The biggest way that I scaled my business in the first maybe 90 days to do that first 100K in revenue was all because I fully understood that I had to go and give these roadmap calls or these free audit calls out to people in order to give them 30 minutes of my time for free. A few of them ended up becoming clients, and then the snowball effect of my business happened. But had I believed that I could just go and sell high ticket to people without proving my worth first, I don't think I'd be where I am today. And then the second one is this idea of needing to sell yourself. I actually jumped on a call with a client the other day, and he was like, I really believe in what I do. I know I can help people, but I don't like selling. And I just said to him, do you genuinely believe in what you can do? Like, do you genuinely believe you can help someone? And he was like, yes. And he was like, do you want to, and then I said, do you want to have a massive impact in your industry? And he said, yes. And I said, well, how are you going to do that if you don't sell to people? Because at the end of the day, how can you run a business if you don't actually take people from not customers to customers? The only difference between that is a sales process. So yes, there are a lot of bad terms and bad impressions of people in the industry who are very salesy, for sure, I get that completely. But at the same time, if you do not understand that in a brutal market, you have to sell aggressively, fairly, and so if you do not understand that in this brutal market, you have to sell with conviction and with absolute firmness, then your business will simply never make the money you want it to. And that was something that I found fascinating with a lot of people, is that they expect to grow their businesses without relentlessly marketing and putting value out into the market. And that's one of the fascinating things that I found and that's one of the fascinating things that I found about growing this business, is had I not put a load of value into the market, and had I not sold with absolute conviction and confidence, then I never would be here. Then I never would have actually grown the business that I wanted to. That is the fourth truth. But the fifth truth is a very uncomfortable truth for a lot of people. Most people watching these videos think they need the next best strategy. They think they need the little business tip, the story strategy, or the little hook in their content that is going to unlock everything. Let me tell you this. The thing that I realized is it is nothing to do with strategy until you get to the 30, 40K a month mark. The real thing is a great offer with good content, but underpinning all of that is incredible. But underpinning all that is two things: an intense focus and incredible discipline. With an intense focus and incredible discipline. Within that discipline is habits and systems, because within that discipline is your habits and your systems. And I've developed habits and systems that I think have absolutely changed my life. I have a to-do list that I look at every single morning, and that is the only thing that I work on. And I've also completely removed any meetings from my mornings. Those two things, in and of themselves, have helped me break the 30 to 40K a month mark, because I am very disciplined at getting the tasks done that I need to do. And it blows my mind every single time I speak to people who are stuck under the 10K a month mark, how many of them are just on a hamster wheel, constantly doing admin tasks that don't move the needle forward. And that is all because of a lack of discipline. The second thing under that umbrella of the most important things within the online business space of growing to 20K a month is focus. The thing about all these tasks, one of the things that annoys me the most right now is everyone talking about AI and Claude Bot, or whatever is talking about AI and Claude Code and Claude Bot. Is everyone talking about AI, OpenCore, Claude Bot, whatever you want to talk about? All of those tasks are distracting from the things that you need to do, which is focusing on solving the bottleneck of your business. And I actually have a full video where I explain the systems and the way that I've been able to focus intensely to grow my business over that 20K a month mark. And the video will just be up here. So if you click on that video, then I'll tell you everything that you need to know about building incredible discipline and focus to scale your business. Okay? Team, that was fun. I hope that was useful. I was playing around. That's the YouTube stuff. It's interesting. Like, I wonder if it needs to be a bit more interactive. I have a lot of people coming and going and listening for a little bit. But yeah, good to see everyone. Good to see some people still listening as well. That is very cool. So I have some questions to ask or answer, which I would always love to answer. When it comes to scaling a business, do you have any AI bots or systems that do outreach or Facebook, Instagram, especially very easy to use to help bring leads, to get volume, opposed to a setter? Now, I think, honestly, mate, I have had this question a lot from my community. I would never go near an AI setter. I would not even touch them, because the thing about your business is you want to charge high ticket. Easiest way to scale a business is charge high ticket. In order to do that, how would you feel if you were, I don't know, texting me, mate, and you suddenly knew that there was something a bit too polished about the person texting you? You'd be like, this feels crap, and also I don't really want to buy from this person because I don't feel that personal connection. So for you, mate, like, yes, there is outbound systems, there are AI setters, there are all of these like little tips and tricks that you can use, but I promise you, you are much better finding a setter, training an absolute killer at being in your DMs, sounding like you, adding value to your clients, seeing if it's or adding value to your prospects, and seeing if it's the right time to move forward. And then after that, focusing on these outbound systems. But in the world of like trust and in the world of in the online business space where there's so much lack of trust right now, honestly, mate, like having an AI setter is just gonna kill your business. And I'm not. It's not a stupid question, but I get this question all the time from my clients, and it's just like, it kills businesses. These AI stuff. Bring real people in, get real people to speak to other real people, and then you will end up being able to charge high ticket. And that's what you want at the end of the day. Is like, if say you were to buy from me, you'd never be like, oh yeah, I want an AI setter. I want someone in my DMs who's gonna, or you'd never be like, oh, I want to be speaking to an AI setter, and then I'm willing to send a load of money over the internet to some random person who's got an AI setter. Sell me this pen. No, mate, you're the salesman, aren't you, my friend? Sell me this pen. It's good to see you, Ellis. I hope you're well. When are you going to start your online business, Ellis? That's the most important thing. That's what I want to know. Hormozi is streaming a lot now these days. Honestly, like streaming is the way forward. Like it is like the best thing in the world for me to build authenticity and for me to build trust with the audience. One of the things that I like that Hormozi did is filming his YouTube videos within his live streams. I think that's so clever, and that's also obviously what we're trying out as well. So one of the things that works nicely is doing that. But yeah, live streaming is the play. Knowing that I'm going to do this every single day, every single Wednesday, it's cool. And then filming my YouTube videos in at the same time. Many birds with many stones. Yeah. Any questions, guys? I've got a few minutes, and then I'm going to go and jump in and do another YouTube video, another yap. Got some good viewers on all streams, so please feel free to ask some questions. Otherwise, I'm going to have a raspberry break. Not yet, Amanda. This is too early. We're only half an hour in. I can't be having a raspberry break. Fan basis is the best, my friend. Fan basis is the best. Stripe, enjoy locking people's accounts. I got my account locked. Someone else got their account locked. They're not very good for coaching. They want to work with these big payment processors or big companies, and they would just prefer to shut coaching businesses and consulting businesses down. So no to Stripe for me. No to Stripe for me. Yeah. Where are you these days? Hey Jack, hope you're well. I'm in South Africa, correct? I'm enjoying life here. I could not, yeah, I cannot beat it. It is the best. It's the best. It's like a perfect mix of everything that I liked in Bali while missing a lot of things, or while improving on a lot of things that I didn't like so much about Bali. One of the things is like, people live here. It's very easy to just like build a business, which is cool. Let's try something. Okay, if you're on Instagram, request. I think I can only do it on Instagram. But if you're on YouTube, chill on YouTube. But you can also come over to on Instagram. Let's do a request for someone to share their screen or to request to come on the live with me, and I will. I'll come solve some problems. So if anyone wants to jump over, I know my friend in the YouTube, you're asking a lot of questions. So if you want to come over and request to be in the live, then we can jam together. That'd be fun. Who wants to join? I don't actually have no idea how to check, like how I have no idea how to check who to go live with. But whoever is here, let me go live with someone. I think you might have to request as opposed to me being able to request. Let's see, do I get like a request button? Who have I got watching? Jack, why don't we go live together, my friend? Do you want to just turn the speaker off, Amanda? Jack's probably sat in his bed and I've just gone, let's go live together. Jack's probably running around being like, what's going on? What do I do? I'll cancel that. Who else wants to go live? Anyway, just chuck a request in if you want to go live. I know probably most people are just sitting in their beds, just chilling or something like that. Top 3 places to visit cheap are saving a lot and putting money back in, but network with fitness coaches. Your suggestions? Ooh. Bali. It has to be Bali. Bali is like the best place to be among a lot of people who are killing it, but also at the same time save a good amount of money, so you get a lot of runway. So yeah, I would say Bali is the. Bali is the best. The second best I'd say is probably like a Thailand, and the third best is like, second best Thailand, third best like a Vietnam. It's got to be somewhere in the Asian countries. I think got to be somewhere in the Southeast Asian world. All right, let's go live, Jack. I saw your message. I've just requested. There he is. What's up? How are you, mate? Okay, the only problem is the sound is a little bit crappy, so I might have to. Sorry, I removed that. The sound sucked a little bit. No, just to get my camera back on. Yeah, the sound sucked a little bit, mate. Apologies. That's my bad for getting you on while you're at the Stairmaster. Enjoy being on the Stairmaster. If anyone else wants to join though, feel free to just to request, and I'll happily accept. Vietnam, your thoughts? I've been there a few times. I love Vietnam. I know a lot of friends who live and work remotely there, but for me, Bali is just the easiest place to like grow one of these. Is the easiest place to grow one of these businesses. Like it's perfect for runway. It's perfect for being around people who are very similar to you and very similar in the way they think about things. And it's like great for removing things you don't want to do. So like if you don't want to do cooking, if you don't want to do cleaning, it's very easy. Whereas obviously it's very expensive in other countries to do that. Like I don't know, Australia, England, you can't just chuck money on that. So yeah, that was the game changer for me, going over to that. Vietnam, your thoughts? That's about it, really. Vietnam, positive, but not life changing in terms of going there. I think Bali would be more life changing. Yeah, that's my take. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a few seconds to ask any more questions, and then if not, I'm going to go and jump right back on to my next little piece, which is about productivity systems. This is a cool one, actually. Something I spoke about in my, something I spoke about quite a lot with my community recently about productivity systems. I got a question here. So how do you remove the decision-making process within the DMs to book calls quicker with a setter? How do you remove the decision-making process within the DMs to book calls quicker with a setter? I wouldn't chase people because they're going to end up being the worst people on. They're going to be the worst people on calls. Like I hate the people that you chase the most are the people that you end up just being like, I wish I wasn't on a call with them. So the decision-making process, like simply the way that you want to run your DMs is just have very easy like question answer. So you want to be like, how long have you been running your fitness business? I don't know, you're a fitness coach, right? So it's like, how long have you been trying to lose weight? What weight are you at now? What weight do you want to be at? And you want to give them super simple answers. The worst thing you can do in DM setting is ask like, tell me why you came here, because then you just sit there as a person, you're like, I cannot be bothered to answer this question. So the easiest way to get people to reply in DMs is to give them what we call, this is like a bit of secret sauce, mate, but we call it what's the name of it? I always like blank on these live streams. It's like A or B. So it's Boolean, there we go. It's the Boolean logic method, which is A or B, which is give them the option to say A or B. So for example, we say like, are you interested in paid media or are you interested in growing organics? And then they say that and you take them along to the point where you find their problem really easily and then propose the call. Easiest way to do it, just question, answer. Works very well. What do you think about scaling low ticket products? I with respect to you, thank you for asking the question firstly, I cannot stand low ticket products, and there's a reason for that, and that's because firstly, I think anyone who buys a low ticket product is not invested enough. In order to grow one of these businesses, you genuinely have to be absolutely obsessed with growing them. So, or anything that you invest in, you have to be very obsessed to make it work. No matter if that's a fitness product, no matter if that's like an AI agency product, no matter what it is, you have to be obsessed. And when you provide people low ticket value, in general, you get low ticket clients. My price is super expensive, but that's because it filters for people who are actually serious about working with me. And that's why I get great results. It's this weird like compounding thing where I charge more, I get only people that can afford my product, and therefore the people that can afford my product are the people who can collect that cash in the first place, which means they have the habits and the systems and the productivity in place in order to go and succeed at the thing they want to do. So I cannot stand low ticket products because you attract people who don't get results. And also like your LTV, so your lifetime value, the amount of money you make per client is so low. So you have to have volume. And the only way that low ticket works is by running a crazy amount of ads, which kills your margin, or to run low ticket products, to run a crazy amount of ads or have a big audience. Like if you have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, yes, you can make 10K off low ticket products. If you have a small audience, it's literally impossible to make it unless you chuck money into ads. And then you end up just going, okay, great, I've chucked a load of money into ads, my margins are like 20%. I might as well have just sold one of those people for hundreds or thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. So that's the game changer. And the funny thing is everyone who runs low ticket, I was with a guy the other day and he was like, oh yeah, I run a low ticket community. And I was like, okay, great. And he was like, oh yeah, but there's obviously like, and then his whole thing is low ticket, low ticket, low ticket. And then he runs a high ticket in the low ticket, which is how he makes a lot of his money, which is so classic. It's so classic. Everyone will say, oh, I'm gonna run a low ticket funnel. And then they'll end up basically just going and running a high ticket off the back end because they're like, this one person wants one-on-one help. They're willing to pay me 3, 5, 6, 7, 8K. I think I'm gonna let them pay me 3, 5, 6, 7, 8K because that's hundreds of low ticket people. So yeah, hope that answers your question, my friend. Yes, not to shit on low ticket products. They definitely can work, but I would not go near them. I much prefer high ticket stuff. All right, I've got a few more minutes for questions before I jump into the next YouTube. Yeah, what have you guys got to ask? What resonated there about low ticket? Are you guys thinking about doing low ticket? If not, I will need a very specific use case as to why you should do low ticket. Also with low ticket and high ticket, is it beneficial or just have one offer that's beneficial long term? Honestly, with low ticket and high ticket, for you, again, I don't know exactly what your like audience size is and all that sort of thing, but in general, it is so much easier just to have a high ticket product. Even if you have a big audience, you just make more money with a high ticket product. So for you, I would say a high ticket, and I wouldn't have a high ticket of 1.2K. I would have a high ticket of like at least 3K USD, like at least 3K USD. So yeah, that's what I do. No low tickets, and go one offer, one delivery mechanism, one avatar, one person that you speak to, 3K. Easiest thing to do. Sean, I think it's I am Sean, right? Sean, if you wanna jump on, should we do a collab? If you're about, I can click on your profile and invite you to a collab. Let's see if you're keen. I think that'd be fun. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I like the idea of a collab. And if anyone else wants to collab, I'm like, oh, that could be quite fun. I'm going to jump into my YouTube video in a few minutes, but between now and then, ask your questions and send me a message in the Instagram chat or in the YouTube chat saying you want to collab, and we can talk about either. I know in the YouTube it's not as easy to collab, so you might have to come over onto Instagram. But yeah, 3K I have the value. I just where do I find these people? I just don't target them with hashtags. Or Sean, I'll be with you in 1 second. No hashtags. The reason you can't find people for 3K is because of the fact that you're not going after people who are able to buy for 3K. I used to sell fitness offers when I was closing for 8 or 9K, and it's because the person targeted people who had a lot of money. He always used to talk about if you're in a corporate job and if you're like, you're a CEO and you've got a family, but you can't seem to keep your weight in check. Can you see immediately with that like positioning in your content, you immediately discount anyone who's not going to have a crazy amounts of money. So yeah, that'd be what I'd say, mate. Is it's all about your positioning and your content. It'll be because you're not making content that is good enough for the right people. All right, let's go, Sean. Hey, yo, what's going on, my friend?
What's up, Sol? How are you, brother?
I am very well. Thanks for the engagement on the live, mate.
Of course, man. I'm all about supporting the right creators. I'm a client of Pedro's as well. And I've spoken with Morgan before, so I know we got a few mutuals. So I was like, let me hop on and let me chop it up with him.
I love it,
How
man.
are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. I'm enjoying the live stream as always. Where are you calling from today?
Awesome. I'm based in Connecticut, back home, so
Cool.
right above New York. So yeah, typically Q4, Q1, back home for the holidays. I got some beautiful sunlight.
There we go.
Like 2 months of like 2 feet of snow, dude. So
Yeah.
typically like Q2 and Q3. Then I kind of go travel, go be a bit more of a bird. But yeah, for now I'm back home.
Sick, mate. Sick, mate. And how can I help? What are you up to? What do you want me to help you with?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now I've been running a coaching business pretty much like full time. I haven't really been making a lot from it. I had one inbound like lay down sale, which was just a guy that's 5% a year, kind of higher population. And I've been kind of stuck in the view trap of like 250 to like 500 views. I'll never really get any call to actions, even for like a lead magnet. And I know I have a really good offer because I have great feedback on it. And then the sales that I do have, they're extremely good client chemistry. I haven't had no objections. Like, it's only been logistical, and that was very short term. But I'm just like, how can I generate conversations that are open conversations, honest conversations? How can I, just be authentic on my stories, which I am, just be myself, be who I am? And how can I post a CTA and get, 3 people to get a lead magnet and have 2 conversations off of that? That's kind of been a struggle for me. Besides just like cold outreach or that type of stuff, and I don't necessarily have the capital to run ads. And I have an organic presence and the value is there. I just don't think what I'm putting down is being picked up. And there's just a lot of juice I'm not really squeezing. And yeah, I hate outreach, so I don't stay consistent in outreach.
Yeah.
So it's like if my content is struggling and I'm not doing outreach, but just not doing ads, it's like no wonder why your business isn't successful, dude. But I'm trying to like snipe at my problems, instead of trying to spray from the hip.
Yeah.
So I know outreach is a big deal, but I'm also looking for what's next.
Cool. Yeah. Mate, so thank you so much for the context. Let's diagnose this a little bit. So, firstly, give me the avatar that you're going for and the translation and the transition you want for them to happen. So what are they, where are they right now and where do they want to be, say in 6 months' time, in like 2 sentences?
Absolutely. So I work with high-ticket closers who are on the verge of burnout, who often face energy crashes, brain fog, things of the sort. And in about 4 months, which is the length of my one-on-one, I help them unlock peak performance and make sure that they can continuously scale their commissions without burning out.
Okay, exactly. This is really cool. So I actually have a client who joined me very recently who is called Ethan, who is smashing it in this realm. And the biggest, and he's closed maybe 4 or 5 people in the last few months, and we did one flip in his positioning. I'll tell you that, and then we can actually diagnose where I think the problem is along your. So, firstly, the thing that we did with him is that while what happens is you've got a really cool mechanism which is about, okay, how do I actually help people think more about their life, and that causes them to have more commissions. But the problem with human beings is we care about one of 3 things: better health, wealth, or relationships. And you want to work out within your offer which one you're actually serving. So while you probably do talk about health and relationships, would you agree with me that it's really about increasing their commissions?
Yes, it's kind of more of like that. Give them what they want, or like show them what they want, give them what they need. So on the front end with the marketing, it's like, hey, make more money. But on the back end, I'm helping them build that sustainability and that lifestyle. It's just that doesn't, from what I've seen, it doesn't really sell. What sells is, hey, I've been able to help clients double their commissions by improving their health. But really, I'm the health guy. I'm not like the sales coach guy. Yeah. But you make more money.
And that's the problem is that we are very simple organisms, which is like we think about what we actually want, and you're absolutely spot on, which is you sell what they want and then you give them what they need, and that's exactly what Ethan does. But we positioned Ethan as opposed to talking about his You've heard of the saying, of course you have because you're in the space, right? That you sell the holiday and not the plane ticket. So the problem that I see a lot of people who do this like alternative way of leading to outcome that we all understand is that they spend way too much time on their mechanism and not enough time just on the outcome, the outcome itself. So what I would see is that like for example, for me, right, I make people more money with their online businesses. But what I do is I do that with my mechanism, which is helping people make more trust in their content and making people have more belief in their conviction sales calls and getting people to their sales calls that really believe in them. I don't talk about that in my marketing unless it's bottom of funnel or middle of funnel. What I think you're probably not doing is getting enough traffic at the top of the funnel in order for people to want to listen to your mechanism in the middle and the bottom of the funnel. So in order for people to want to listen to you and be like, you are absolutely spot on, I need better health and relationships, we need to put more people at the top in order to then go, this guy's great, I'm gonna listen to him when he tells me I've actually been going about commission in sales the wrong way. Does that make sense?
100%, dude. And I feel like that kind of ties back into like one of the reasons I even got into social media in the first place. It was to document the journey, inspire. I felt like I had something worth saying that people should listen to. Like one of the few people that maybe is worth taking advice from. So if I can approach my content in a way where then people are like, oh, let me actually see what this guy has to say, then I think they'll get so much value from the content. Right now, they're not even really watching past the first like 5 to 10 seconds. How can you really understand Sean or how I'm trying to help you? You know?
100%. And I think therefore the thing, and again, if you can't run ads, that's absolutely fine. Like we did multiple 6 figures without touching ads. So you're definitely gonna be able to do that as well. Don't worry about that. The thing that you wanna focus all of your time on is about you, your story, your values, everything like that. Don't even worry about talking about your mechanism and about the plane ticket and about everything to do with your offer. Think about just how can I get a random person on the internet's attention to feel like I could be someone who they could get help from.
And that's directly related to the ICP. We're talking about just a person.
Just really good call out, just the ICP. So yes, a random person who is your ICP. So for example, a closer stuck at 5 to 10K a month, and you want to do anything you can to get their attention. So Ethan's, for example, is the classic thing which everyone does, which is the videos of sales calls, because immediately people are like, that's such a banging format. Like everyone loves those sort of videos. They immediately do really well. They've got great retention behind them. That is a great way to get into the space, to get people to know who you are. And then after that, after they've interacted with those reels, because they're like, that was a funny call, or that was a great like objection handle, all of a sudden you hit them with your marketing, which is, by the way, that call only worked because I focused on these 3 things. Would you like to buy my program to help you with these 3 things? Is the journey.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense too. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like there's quite a few bottlenecks, but I'm trying to look at what variables can I control more or less.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, the outreach is definitely there, and then I've kind of been in like view jail with the content, and there's quite a bit of like an organic presence. I probably have like, I don't know, so maybe I want to say probably like 600, 700 plus reels of just all a mix of like value and like my story about health and like coaching, and all the way from like shit content to like getting a little bit better over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now kind of getting more views at the top and showing people more about who I am kind of seems like the bottleneck, and then that'll spark conversations.
Yeah.
I think why I outreach so much is because I'm always manually doing it. It's like nobody's like having a conversation that can turn into something. So
bro, don't even touch outreach. Like, don't even bother. Completely
so
not.
Content.
Absolutely. Like, especially in the closing space, like you're dealing with egos and you're dealing with people who are just not going to be interested in outreach unless it's like the warmest of warm outreaches. Like, so someone's commenting on all your stuff and they're viewing your story and they're liking your story. That's fine. But like cold, not even worth it. Because like everyone knows that outreach stuff can work to someone who's a prospect who has no idea about the online space and is just like assuming it's a nice conversation. But in general, all of your time should be spent making top of funnel marketing. So everything, I call it share content. It's just about how to basically go and, or all of your content should be about share content. So value content or values content, beliefs content, stuff about you as a human being. That is gonna in turn give you a lot of people to warm outreach to, which is going to end up making you the money and meaning that you're not wasting time in conversations.
Interesting. Okay, so more or less just don't really talk to people unless they've shown some kind of engagement or like they followed me or something.
Yeah.
Don't talk to them. Maybe just have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Add some value to them. Maybe nurture over time, and then just focus on like top of funnel content really.
Yeah.
And then funneling those people down over time, I guess.
And let me give the analogy, mate. Like, the difference is that I always use it as like a kind of like, imagine a house party. Imagine you want to go and make a friend at a house party. If you were at a house party and you were running your house party, would you prefer to go up to random people in the street and go and say, do you want to come into my house party and be friends with me? Or would you prefer to just see who turned up and then be friends with them in the first place? So what I'm trying to say is you want to let people come into your world and then speak to them, like optionally, as opposed to the other way around, which is to say, I'm gonna go and speak to all these random people, because those people just don't know who you are and they're just like, you're at such a disadvantage with trust to them.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. Okay, cool, I'll do that then. And as far as YouTube as well, quick one on that. I spent quite a bit of time on YouTube. I haven't been as quite consistent as I want to be. It's funny, whenever I'm working on other people's businesses, I'm as dedicated as I can be, but when it comes to my own, it's like, I'm so long-term focused, I don't have as much urgency, but I still get it done. But with YouTube, I feel like it's just so raw and authentic. There's almost like no editing.
Yeah.
All I do is like scans to audio with Adobe. But do you think that YouTube is a great platform to kind of just more or less talk directly to the ICP and just straight more value and have more more insights on IG, or how do you separate the two?
I think YouTube's a waste of time for you, apart from making like 2 or 3 videos on it.
I have like 30 on there right now, some client interviews, so
stop making them then. Focus all your time on going ballistic with content, short form content. YouTube has returns when you generate eyeballs on short form and then send people over to long form. That's when it generates returns. And then once you're able to outsource and then spend more time on YouTube yourself. But for you right now, like, I would not even bother doing anything other than just getting as much views on short form as possible.
Okay. And like without an editor, without any kind of crazy things of that sort, how would you approach taking short form to a whole other level?
Make 5 videos a day, not 1 video a day.
Different hooks, track them all.
Don't even, just literally pick up your phone and think about your 5 biggest client problems and then make a video about all 5 of them and then do the same the next day and just keep going.
Pretty simple.
So simple.
Mix all that in with the stories, the values, the beliefs.
Yeah. All of that, like intertwined, that stuff with the values of yourself. So like, for example, your client is stuck on a 10K a month because of the fact that they don't have a good gym routine. Let me just say that as an example. You'd be like, I remember when I was stuck at 5K a month, or I remember when, like, one of the biggest problems that I see is people don't have a good routine, and this is like my routine and why it serves me so well. And then just say something kind of controversial, something quite interesting, and people will immediately resonate with it.
Interesting. Okay, cool. And when it comes to content, do you follow the same exact structure for kind of all your reels? Do they have the same backbones, or do they differ?
Nah, I just think like I make as much content as I can, and then I think, okay, I need to split this between top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, and then I just make whatever works again and try new ideas at the same time. Pretty much. It's like, don't overcomplicate it. And for you right now, just think about as many of the interesting things you can talk about to your ICP that you believe in and that is important for your niche, and then go from there.
Sweet. So we'll need a mover. I appreciate you, so thank you, brother.
Always, mate. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you joining, and chat to you soon, I guess.
Likewise. Keep killing it, dude.
Cheers, buddy. Speak soon. Bye. Sweet. All right, that was fun. I'm gonna jump into a YouTube video, but this YouTube video should only be like maybe 20, 30 minutes. Let's call it 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna go live with someone else. So feel free to request or come and say hi, and then we can do a live with someone else. YouTube audience, I'm not leaving you alone. Actually, I saw one question fire up while that was going. No outbound, definitely no outbound for fitness coaches. No outbound for fitness coaches. No point, complete waste of time. No one will ever buy from a coach that outbounds them. It comes across as way too like I mean, okay, fine. I'm sure you could make money as a doing outbound. Everything works, but just focus on making incredible content where people feel like they have to buy from you, and that will be the easiest way to bring people in. Yeah, no outbound. Okay, cool. This is going to be a video about productivity. So let's jump into that. Amanda, so we still rocking and rolling? Is life good? Awesome. All right, guys, I want you to watch, enjoy, and please ask any questions along the way as I talk about my productivity routine. So, let me just I've got a nice little script up for this, but you'll see me hooking, which is going to be fun to watch. Cool. Okay. Being productive doesn't come down to being productive doesn't come down to discipline. Being productive doesn't come down to discipline. It comes down to having a great system with great focus on it as well. And having been someone who was pretty lazy, being focused is not, I wonder if I lose people when I do this. I'm so interested by that. Being productive doesn't come down to how much discipline you have. It in fact comes down to having very clear systems with very good focus at the same time. And having been your classic rugby guy at university who was drinking all the time, and I would pretty much describe myself as very lazy, all the way to building a $500,000 a year business, I've got 9 systems that I'm going to show you today in this video, which have changed my life, turned me from the lazy person to someone who operates a business, and at the same time runs a team of 10, people. To someone who runs a business, but also has 10 team members at the same time. I've gone from unorganized, lazy, and undisciplined. I've gone from unorganized, lazy, and basically not doing anything with my life to a life that I'm actually proud of. And it's down to these 9 systems that I'm going to explain to you in this video. This is not for someone doing 100K a month plus. It's for someone who's looking to take their online. This is not for you if you're doing 100K a month plus. It's for someone who is looking to hit their first 20, 30, 40K a month. And let me tell you, these systems, before any business hack that you get, is going to change your life. When I realized that scaling was all about the foundations I had in my life, I realized that all I needed was systems to create. I realized that the only thing I needed to focus on was myself and the systems around me to allow me to hit the business numbers that I wanted to. And let me go through and I'm going to go through the 9 of them in this video today. So the first one is to protect. So the first thing that I focused on is to protect my. Actually, that's a good thing to say before this. Some of these things are, in complete honesty, completely autistic, and I get that accusation a lot by a lot of people around me that they think I have a lot of weird traits. But some of these are going to be absolute gems that you can copy specifically to change the face of your business. I'm excited to get into them. So, firstly, is protecting your energy. One of the things that I do is I default say no to people, which is so funny because I have one of my friends come up to me the other day and she said, "Oh, I was going to ask you if you wanted to come on this weekend trip, but I assumed you'd want to say no, so I didn't invite you." I know that sounds bad. I assumed you want to say no, so I didn't ask. And I was so happy. And I was so happy when she said that to me. Because I realized that I want to be using my energy for things, because I have created a space in my life where I do things that I want to do. I don't have to spend energy on engagements or hang out with people that I don't believe in. You might think, or hang out with people that I don't really, or hang out with people that I don't really want to. You know when you have that coffee, you know when someone asks you for a coffee and you're like, "Oh, I'm not really sure if I really want to do that." It takes a lot of chunk out of your day and you also don't know them that well. By default, I just say no to these things. And I've realized that it allows me to spend more time with the people that I genuinely care about, the people that I have a genuine connection with, spend time with my family or working on my business. So I've created a culture around me doing things as basically saying no. I use this example from a guy called Naval Ravikant, who is a great inspiration of mine, who says that he lives the happiest life now that he doesn't feel obligated to go to parties or hang out with people or go on trips that he doesn't want to. Yes, it might sound antisocial, but trust me, you'll have a happier life when you can say yes to things you want to, as opposed to having to always do things that you don't really feel like you're going to enjoy. The other thing that I do to protect my energy is I am a bit of a snob. I will say that straight away. I Uber Eats all the time. I am a bit of a snob. I Uber Eats all the time. I never cook. And that's because I want to spend my energy on the things that I really believe in. Because I want to spend my energy on the things that really, really matter. Because I want to spend my energy on the things that genuinely really matter to me. For example, that is hang out. For example, that is being able to order in so that I can then go and work on my business in the evening. Or it's ordering in so that I can then go out for the evening to spend time with friends. Whatever it is, I want to focus my energy and my time on the things that I really care about, whether that be business or other things in life. And things that can be outsourced or done by other people, I give straight away. That comes down to cooking, it comes down to cleaning, it also comes down to doing my laundry. Things that use energy that other people can do, I want to outsource. Again, you might be listening to this and thinking, oh my God, this guy is such a snob. But trust me, having the energy to spend time on things that really matter is going to change your life and allow you to grow your business, but also have more time for the things that really matter, like family and friends. The second thing in a similar sort of, the second system in a similar sort of light is protecting my zone of genius. Someone I know is a good friend of Stephen Bartlett. And they said that he has this rule, which is if he ever does something twice, he gets someone else to do it. Again, might sound a bit snobby, but what he does is he protects the most important things that he is good at. He spends half his day hiring, and if he spends half his time hiring and another half of his day making content, and then he spends half his day hiring, some of his day doing content and marketing, and the other day spent for making big business decisions. And if he was constantly doing small tasks, then he would end up and if he was constantly doing small tasks, he'd end up not having the time to do the things that actually move the dial. So in a similar way, I outsource everything. I open my laptop in the morning and I have my lists of tasks and I send the tasks over to other people to do because I want to protect my zone of genius. That is creating content like this and helping my clients. They're the things that I know move the dial for my business and are the things that I really enjoy. Any other task, I am an absolute snob with, and I literally get rid of it and get someone else to do it for me. You're paying your team members, or you have admin assist. You're paying your team members to do things for you to help you in your business, and that is exactly what you should do. They will all benefit as well from you being able to focus on the things that push the business forward and allow you to make more commission for them, or allow you to pay them more when your business allows you to. The third thing that I do, which is slightly autistic. The third thing I do, which I love, which is slightly autistic, is I reduce my decision-making process. A few very weird things I do with this. I always wear black t-shirts and I wear some sort of like cream trousers or cream shorts. I never ever order in restaurants. I always just let the waiter come over and I say, look, what do you think is the best thing on the menu? And I just pick whatever they say. I have a routine that I follow every single week. I know Wednesday is my filming day. I know Monday and Tuesday are my hard working days. I'm very, very set on that. And all of these weird little traits allow me to spend more time focusing on the things that move the dial. Should I hire this person? Or is this a good idea for a YouTube video? Because you only actually have a set amount of capacity to make decisions. That was something I found out recently that I had no idea. At some point, your brain will fatigue and the quality of your decisions will reduce so much So the important thing is to not make decisions on the things that don't matter, like what t-shirt you're gonna wear, like what you're gonna have for dinner, like like what you're going to have for dinner. And I follow something called the 80% rule, which is when I go and make a decision, I get to the point where I'm like 80% sure it's the right decision, and then I execute on it. Because the one thing that is worse than making a bad decision is taking too long to make a decision. So reduce your decision-making process as much as possible, and you will end up finding that you have more time and brain space to focus on the things that move the dial. The fourth thing, the fourth productivity hack and system that has changed my life is what I call the autistic week. I apologize if someone's watching this and is offended by that, but I'm autistic, so it's fine. The autistic week is the way that I describe how I set my week. And when I wake up on a Monday morning, I know that the next 2 days are grind. I take all my calls on Monday and Tuesdays. I don't take any calls on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. And I know that on Monday and Tuesday, I'm gonna be working till 8, 9 p.m. I get into my office at 7 a.m. and I'm grinding full steam ahead. Wednesday is for all content, so short form in the morning, long form, and these live streams and YouTube videos in the evening. And then Thursday and Friday is where I put all of my admin tasks or things that don't move the dial as much. And that is exactly how I run. And that is exactly how I run my week. And trust me, this week has allowed me to compartmentalize my business so much. I can focus on moving things forward in the business on Monday and Tuesday, on creating great content on Wednesday, and admin on Thursday and Friday. That allows me to know what I need to do on certain days, and if things come up on other days, I don't allow myself to task switch and do things that are gonna actually end up in me, or do things that I know, or do things that I think are more enjoyable rather than what the business then needs, or do things that I think, or do things that are more enjoyable that allow me to actually, or do things that are more enjoyable as opposed to what the business actually needs. So my autistic week is a game changer, and it gets to the point where even on like a Monday evening, someone will say to me, oh, like, should we do this? And I'm like, I don't want to speak to you because I'm so zoned in right now because it's Monday. Let's honestly go for the longest coffee. Let's honestly go for a long dinner on Thursday and catch up. But Monday and Tuesday, I'm like this robot. And that has helped me keep everything in my life super stable. And that has helped me maintain great relationships. And also build my health up, but also move the business forward at rapid pace as well, and be in charge of a big team. The fourth thing that is a game changer for my productivity is having a great setup. I have 2 monitors, I have a mouse, I have a laptop stand, I have a keyboard, and that is ready for me to get going as soon as I want to. I wake up in the morning, I go to my office, I have a perfect setup, and I can get executing. There is nothing worse than having to go to a coffee shop, it being really loud, your laptop dying, and then you having to put a charger in. Before you know it, you've wasted an hour and a half task switching, ordering food, everything like that. When I was in Bali, that's how I used to run my business. The first time that I got this beautiful setup and invested a bit of money into it, it changed my life. My productivity went through the roof. Not only because I just get a bit of dopamine from looking at how cool my setup is, but also because it removes the friction to going to work. The exact same thing happens with filming content. I have built a studio in my office which has the camera ready to go, and anytime I need to film content, I just sit in this chair, press play on the camera, and execute. And that makes the friction to creating content so much lower. So if you're looking for a way to be more productive, reduce the friction that you have between you doing the things that you need to do. And in order to, and as you start doing that, your time will free up to do things that move the dial more. The sixth system which changed my life is that I read a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. And I don't know if you've read this book, but I remember reading through it and thinking that the way that Tim Ferriss, the author, talks about the way that he uses VA literally had me in stitches. He would talk about the most ridiculous tasks that he got his VA to do, and I found it so funny. But it also showed me what really successful people are doing with their time and what they're not doing with their time, more importantly. He would tell very funny stories about getting them to search up random things or becoming... I have my VA to do, I actually asked my VA before this, I actually asked my VA/personal assistant what she thinks is the most ridiculous things that she's had to ask I actually asked my VA before making this video what the most ridiculous things that she had to do I actually asked my VA before making this video what the most ridiculous things she had to do for me were. One of the things when I left Bali, I had to get a parasite test to make sure I was healthy, and she had to research that and look into some pretty grim things for that. I also left a pair of trousers in a hotel a few months ago, and she chased them all up to make sure that I could get them back, and then got them posted to me. And she's also an expert in accommodation in all of the places that I've been very fortunate to travel around the world, because she's going into Facebook groups and messaging Airbnb owners. She's an expert in like Cape Town accommodation, Bali accommodation, Sydney accommodation, and London accommodation, which I find so funny as well. What I'm trying to say here is that the sick productivity system that I use was getting someone to handle full-time my personal tasks. We are very fortunate in the Western world to be able to afford to get relatively cheaper labor from places like the Philippines because of our currencies, and that means that we can have someone at a relatively early stage in your business working full time on the tasks to move the dial forward. So one of the things that changed the game for me was actually having this VA and getting her to work on things that just ended up adding up and causing me a lot of friction. So one of the things I would highly recommend when you have $400, $500, $600 to $1,000 available to invest is you go straight and get a VA and use them to take your personal admin tasks off your plate. Again, all with the thought of doing things that move the dial of the business. Okay. Autistic trait number 7 is actually, I actually asked one of my friends, what are some autistic traits that you think that I have that have helped me scale a business so quickly? And she said that you just take action on things in the moment whenever they come up. And a good example of this is if someone says to me, oh, well, why don't we go and book this restaurant? I'm like, great, let's book that restaurant. I get my phone up and I book it right in front of them. And I remember doing that a few times with people. And there's a similar example when someone asks for a book recommendation, or I ask for a book recommendation, someone's like, do this. I'm like, I buy it on my Kindle straight away. The reason that I do that is because the time that it takes to make a decision you're going to do something and then actually execute it causes a space in your brain to be taken up by that thought, either that book or that restaurant reservation. The speed you move at dictates the speed that you progress and the time that you have for other things. And I found that I don't want my brain to be consumed by, I need to go and book that restaurant, I need to go and do this task, instead of unless if I can just do that very task in the moment. And that has changed the game for me because it allows me to execute on things very quickly and be able to spend more time, as I say throughout this video, on the things that really move the dial. So I would ask yourself whenever you have a decision to make, could you literally execute it and finish it in that very second? Because if it takes no less than 30 seconds, I think it's worth whipping your phone out and doing it. If it takes longer, then add it to a to-do list. But if it doesn't, then can you just execute it now and free your brain up to spend more time being present with the person you're with or on the things that really move the dial. And that to-do list is what comes on to number 8. And to-do lists aren't the most ridiculous, revolutionary thing in the world, but my to-do list is my absolute Bible. I have a Notion page with my to-do list, and every day I open up my Notion page and it has my to-do list on there. The night before, what I will do is I'll go through that to-do list and I'll order the things that I'm gonna do. And then I make it my mission, almost my ego, to look at that to-do list and only execute task by task by task. I have the amount of people I see who will go from task 1 to task 6 to task 3 to task 4, and they just context switch and task switch so much that their brain just gets fried. Doing a task, setting your list the night before, and then executing on that is a game changer. The other bonus thing I'll give you in that is when you start having a team, you can then get them to operate through that as well. So if my team ever want to speak to me or get something done, excuse me. So if my team ever want anything to be done, they just know that they need to put it in my to-do list, and then I'll order it the night before and make sure it gets executed. If it's not in my to-do list, it doesn't happen, and that's such a great workflow to work from. It's like a single source of truth. So make sure you're looking at your to-do list before you go to bed, and then getting to your laptop, your great setup that you have after watching this video, and executing on that to-do list. Okay, number 9, this is real source. The thing that I see, the thing that immediately makes me dismiss people when they're in the online business game, and apologies I've been speaking to you, is if they wake up late. Honestly, I believe waking up early is the biggest game changer in the world. This morning, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. This morning, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning because I was so excited to film some videos. But in general, I'm waking up at about 5 to 6. But in general, I'm waking up between about 5 and 6. And the great thing about that is twofold. Firstly, you get to kill the day before most people have woken up. I feel incredible when I sit and have my morning coffee at 9 in the morning, knowing I've done 2.5 hours or 3 hours of work, even before anyone wakes up. The second thing is if you wake up early, you naturally have to go to bed early. And going to bed early has pretty high returns in terms of an activity, because most of the things that you're gonna do that don't push the business forward or aren't normally great for your life, like going out and drinking loads or or staying up late, sending messages, whatever you do in the evening, they genuinely have a poor return. So the best return I found is by optimizing my day to be awake for much earlier in the morning and avoiding all of those temptations in the evening. So early mornings is a real game changer, and forcing your body to wake up by constantly setting early alarms and then going to bed early is a pretty easy way to reset yourself and just get going in the morning. They are the 9 productivity hacks that I have found changed my absolute life. You don't need discipline, you just need great systems. But after you've sorted your productivity out, what you need is the business tactics on top of that. And I've made a full video that breaks down my entire system of how to take the system that you've built productivity-wise and convert it into a high-ticket offer. You selling your services as a coaching, consulting, or agency offer. I've helped over 100 people do just that, and I filmed a video that breaks down step by step what that looks like. So check that out now. Sweet. YouTube video done. Cool. Sweet team. Amanda, could we raspberry check me, my friend? How's that, guys? That was interesting. I feel like it's interesting. We do lose viewers while I'm doing that. I think that's probably because it's a bit less interactive, but still always super interesting to see and observe people talking about it. Can I have some raspberries? But we're all good with the schedules. How's that? Thank you, buddy. How was that, guys? Anything that really stood out about productivity systems? Anything that you found interesting? Have we got on the live? Good to see you guys. Last question, makes sense. Quick question regarding hashtags. Do I keep it organic? No hashtags needed. You don't need hashtags. The Instagram CEO even came out the other day and was like, don't even waste your time with hashtags, like it's not even worth it. So that's what I would say. Much better to spend as much of your time as you can on making content. The algorithms are very good at just serving them to the right people. That would be my take on that. Yeah. Just message me on Instagram if you've got any more questions, my friend. I'm happy to chat and help. Your patience good. Cool. How are we, guys? Good to see people joining. No worries, Megan. Very good to hear from you. I hope you are well. Well, I know you sometimes jump between, I see your Instagram page end up here, but no, it's very good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. These raspberries are the best thing in the entire world. Do you want some raspberries?
I'm good.
You sure? Good. Yo, dude, how are you? Good to hear from you. What's new? I wonder about YouTube versus Instagram and doing the maybe it's best to do question and answer for like the first hour I think that's probably better. In the future, we'll do the YouTube videos after. I think that works better.
Yeah.
Do the question answer first. Good to see you guys. If you're in the chat, let me know what you're thinking about. Let me know what you're. Good to see you, Max. Good to see you, Marvin. Long time no speak. Funny that I can see people who are viewing. I didn't actually know that until about 20 seconds ago. What are we saying, raspberries or blueberries? Yeah, feel free to ask the questions, guys. I'm here for another. I've got Praseet coming on in about 10, 15 minutes, which is cool. One of a client who's over in Cape Town, which is very fun. Killing it, done his record month last month. We're going to unpack his business as well as do a bit of like an interview, which I think is going to be fun. Alex, good to see you, my friend. Yo, David, what's going on? Blueberries for the win. Facts. I'll get blueberries for you next time, mate. These just go down too well. Facts. Blueberries. Strawberries, 30 calories per 100 grams. Blew my mind. So I have a question. When I post a talking to camera reel, I got 250 views back, but when I post a reel, a hot 100. What do you mean by hot 100? If you're asking what's the difference between, like, obviously, not obviously, the 250 views max one is because, in general, you're asking people, when you create content, you're asking people to pay with their time. So people are not paying with money, but in order for you watching this, right, you're using your time to watch me, and you are paying in a certain way. So you are paying, in order to basically watch my content and like spend your time doing that versus other things. So when you do that, if you post a 1 minute video, you're effectively asking someone to pay a minute of their time to watch you. Therefore, the friction is obviously a lot higher to watch a longer reel versus the friction to watch a 7-second reel. So you're gonna get a lot more interaction if you don't have a big audience to start with. If you have a small audience, the easiest way to grow is with these reels. It can be dangerous because you don't build much trust, but it is a way for people to get seen. Because if no one knows who you are and you post a talking head reel, well, immediately it's like, I don't know who this guy is. Excuse me. But if you post a 7-second reel and it's entertaining, then people are just gonna like it. So that's why those reels end up doing a lot better than the other ones. But you get to a point where people are willing to spend time with you on the longer reels because you've built up trust with them, and that's when you start building some authority and some connection. So that's why you have that difference. It's very much the thing that you see about growing these businesses on content is that you have to pump a lot of time into winning people's attention before you can spend time on getting buyers. Yeah, always fascinating. Alex, no, we have both. In terms of most, well, when you say products, what do you mean by products? But no, in general, most of our clients are around some sort of service-based offering. Yeah. Like, we help people with coaching, consulting, and agency businesses. That's the easiest way. So you're using something you know, a skill that you have, to sell it online in any way possible. So that could be selling coaching, where you tell people what to do, consulting, where you tell people how you've helped people, or agency, where you do it yourself, or you do it yourself for them. I think you do it for them. Yeah, they're the three people that can help. Yeah, for sure. Like, guitar courses is coaching in a sense. It's just leveraged in a different way. So yeah, coaching, guitar courses for sure. The thing that I would say for you, knowing your audience, mate, is like it's like your audience is too small for courses, not coaching. You have to sell high ticket. You can't. You're not going to be able to make enough money from just courses unless you start making. Well, you can start making money from it, but like you need to work on the attention game if you're going to sell low ticket courses. I would go high ticket. I appreciate it, mate. I'll see you in Goa. I'll see you in Goa. I did the orange the golden triangle. Is it called the golden triangle? When I was there last time. It was cool. Sweet. Guys, any questions? I've got 5-10 minutes before I can rock and roll 5-10 minutes before I can rock and roll on something else. So let me know what you guys are thinking. What do you want? Do you want questions answered? Do you want me to vibe on a certain topic? Got a few minutes, and then my man Basit is coming over and having a chat with us.